Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. Monday Night Raw tonight was from the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. Monday Night Raw tonight was absolutely awful. It was abysmal, just all out terrible show. Aside from one match, which I will get to. But we had Rhea Ripley versus Shayna Baszler. The Viking Raiders versus Veer and Shanky. We had the triple threat match for the United States Championship. Damian Priest defended the title against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. We had Styles versus Xavier Woods. In the main event, we had RKBro, Randy Orton and Matt Riddle versus MVP and Bobby Lashley for the Raw Tag Team titles. Just overall, Monday Night Raw tonight, absolutely abysmal show. Just an insufferable show tonight. But before I get to the review, if you guys haven't checked out my previous video that I uploaded today, I did a movie hunting video. So definitely check out that if you guys haven't seen it. So anyways, let's jump right into the review. Monday Night Raw opened up tonight with Damian Priest. Damian Priest came out. He was issuing an open challenge for his United States Championship. So he got into the ring. He got on the mic. He ended up saying that he feels alive. He welcomes everyone to Monday Night Raw. And he ended up saying, "Oh, that was cool." So then he ended up talking about his win over Sheamus at SummerSlam. Fans were chanting for Damian Priest. He ended up appreciating the fans chanting for him. So Damian Priest ended up talking about how he will show respect to the United States Championship, like Rey Mysterio, Jeff Hardy, and John Cena all did. So Damian Priest ended up bringing up how Bobby Lashley ran away like a coward last week, and that he promises that won't be him. He won't run away like a coward like Bobby Lashley did. So Damian Priest ended up kicking off the open challenge. He ended up calling anybody from the back to face him for the United States Championship. And then out came Sheamus. So Sheamus got on the mic. He ended up agreeing that Bobby Lashley does like to run from a fight. Sheamus ended up saying that he likes this open challenge, even if the fans don't deserve it. He ended up saying that he's going to use the bro kick to wipe the smile off of Damian Priest's face and then take back his United States Championship. So then out came Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre ended up saying that he wants to see Damian Priest beat Sheamus's ass again, and that it's time for something else and something fresh. So McIntyre ended up saying that he's never been the United States Champion. So he ended up challenging Damian Priest, and then he had some words for Sheamus. Damian Priest ended up liking that, and then out came Bobby Lashley and MVP. So MVP ended up asking the fans to hold their applause for the almighty Bobby Lashley, the WWE Champion. MVP ended up saying that Bobby Lashley wanted to host an open challenge every week. And then we had these fans chanting for Goldberg. So MVP ended up going on about how Bobby Lashley has already dealt with the entire roster. He ended up saying that it will be good for business if Bobby Lashley beats Damian Priest and becomes a dual champion. So then out came Matt Riddle and Randy Orton. Orton ended up calling Bobby Lashley a greedy son of a bitch that wants something he can have, a second championship. So then Bobby Lashley ended up saying that Randy Orton for once is right. He does want a second title. And maybe he should take the tag team titles. So Matt Riddle then ended up proposing a title defense for the Raw Tag Team titles. The titles will be on the line against MVP and Bobby Lashley. MVP then accepted the challenge. MVP ended up asking Sheamus to kick Damian Priest's ass so they can double back. So then Sonya Deville and Adam Pearce ended up coming out. Sonya Deville ended up saying that they see 2 big main events ahead of them. So she ended up announcing that Damian Priest will defend the United States Championship against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre in a triple threat match, while Randy Orton and Matt Riddle will defend the Raw Tag Team titles against MVP and Bobby Lashley. And that was the main event to Monday Night Raw tonight. But that was how the segment ended. But this whole segment was all over the place, in my opinion. And people I saw online say, oh, this was a fun open to Monday Night Raw. Really? Really? When you have a segment that is all over the place and it looked like it was written an hour before the show went live, when you have them announce that this was going to be an open challenge and we did not get an open challenge. And by the way, if WWE went through with this open challenge, if we would have gotten this open challenge, I knew for a fact that Sheamus was going to be Damian Priest's challenger. And Sheamus would have had his United States Championship rematch there. I know how WWE creative works. If they did this whole open challenge, 100%, Damian Priest's opponent would have been Sheamus. Yeah, that tells you that. Overall, this segment was all over the place. Like I said, in my opinion, felt like it was written an hour before the show went live. And then we had Rhea Ripley end up coming out. Rhea Ripley made her way to the ring for her match with Shayna Baszler, which was the first match of the night. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. And then when Monday Night Raw came back, Rhea Ripley had a mic in hand. She ended up introducing Nikki ASH as the one who will be in her corner. So Nikki ASH ended up coming out. And out came Shayna Baszler with Nia Jax, which I'm like, why are Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax still a thing? So Nia Jax ended up getting on the mic. Nia Jax ended up threatening to splatter Rhea Ripley and Nikki before the match is over. She ended up saying that she will do the same to Charlotte before the night is over. So the bell rung. Rhea Ripley ended up attacking Shayna Baszler, who was distracted. Shayna Baszler ended up fighting Rhea Ripley off. Baszler ended up taking Rhea Ripley down. Went to stop on her arm. Baszler ended up delivering a kick to Rhea Ripley's face. Delivered a knee strike. Baszler ended up working Rhea Ripley over to keep her down. Rhea Ripley ended up trying to fight from her knees, but Shayna Baszler kept on beating her around. So Baszler ended up kicking Rhea Ripley in the head, ended up trapping her hand in the ring apron. Baszler ended up stomping on Rhea Ripley's hand, which was caught in the apron. And so Shayna Baszler ended up posing on the edge of the apron. And then Monday Night Raw went back to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial, Rhea Ripley ended up trying to fight back. But Shayna Baszler ended up slamming her by her arm. She continued to dominate on Rhea Ripley. Baszler ended up doing some trash talking to Rhea Ripley. She ended up delivering a running kick to Rhea Ripley's face. So Rhea Ripley later on ended up dropping Shayna Baszler, headbutted her, and delivered a drop kick to Shayna Baszler. Rhea Ripley then delivered the Northern Lights suplex to Shayna Baszler, but Shayna Baszler ended up kicking out at 2. Baszler then countered that with a takedown. Baszler then went for an armbar, but it got blocked by Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley ended up getting her foot on the bottom rope to break up the armbar. So we had the Karafuda clutch by Shayna Baszler was applied on Rhea Ripley. Nia Jax ended up destroying Nikki ASH at ringside, and Nia Jax ended up laying out Nikki with a Samoan drop into the barricade. So Rhea Ripley and Shayna Baszler end up tangling, and Rhea Ripley ended up getting the win. She ended up rolling up Shayna Baszler, and there you go. Rhea Ripley ended up winning the match. Post-match, Nia Jax immediately ended up coming into the ring and attacked Rhea Ripley. Nia Jax then ended up delivering a Samoan drop to Rhea Ripley. And so Shayna Baszler ended up sitting on the ring apron. And that was that. But overall, just a very meh match, in my opinion. So then we saw the Viking Raiders. The Viking Raiders were backstage. Eric and Ivar ended up talking about unleashing their brutality once again. And they end up saying that after this, everyone will see that the raid is back on. So they end up chanting raid, and they were beating on their chests as they were going raid, and that was that. And then we had the Viking Raiders versus Veer and Jinder Mahal. Boring match. Absolutely boring. Viking Raiders end up coming out. Eric and Ivar. So Jinder Mahal and Veer were in the ring. They were out there, of course, with Shanky. The match started off with Ivar and Veer. Veer ended up getting a headlock on Ivar. They ended up colliding with shoulders, but Veer ended up yelling out. Ivar ended up catching a kick from Veer and delivered a clothesline. Eric then came in. He ended up slamming Ivar on top of Veer for a quick pin attempt. So Eric ended up delivering some knees and punches to Veer. Ivar ended up tagging back in. They ended up running the ropes. Veer ended up delivering a flying death press for a close 2 count. Jinder came in, started unloading on Ivar in the corner. Ivar ended up fighting back. Jinder ended up leveling him with a jumping knee, which he went for the cover, and Ivar ended up kicking out at 2. Veer came back in, and Veer and Jinder ended up double teaming on Ivar. Veer ended up delivering a running splash in the corner. At the end of the match, we had Eric and Ivar. They ended up catching Jinder with the Viking experience. And there you go. The Viking Raiders ended up winning the match. Overall, boring match. And this was an easy win for the Viking Raiders. When you have Jinder Mahal or Veer or Shanky, you know they're losing the match. So easy win for the Viking Raiders in an absolutely boring match. And then we had the best match of the night, in my opinion. And this was a triple threat match for the United States Championship. Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. This was a really entertaining, good match here. And the crowd really enjoyed the hell out of this match. So we had Sheamus making his way into the ring. Out came Drew McIntyre with his sword, Angela. And Damian Priest made his way out. This is his first title defense since beating Sheamus at SummerSlam. So the match got underway. Sheamus ended up seeing that he's about to get double teamed by Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest. But he ended up attacking McIntyre. And both McIntyre and Damian Priest start unloading on Sheamus in the corner. McIntyre delivered a big shoulder. Sheamus ended up ducking the floor to avoid the double team from McIntyre and Damian Priest. Priest ended up leaping over the ropes. He ended up taking Sheamus down on the floor with a flip kick. Sheamus then headbutted Damian Priest. And Drew McIntyre then started unloading on Sheamus against the barricade. So McIntyre ended up whipping Sheamus into Damian Priest. And he ended up backdropping. Damian Priest ended up backdropping Sheamus over the barricade into the timekeeper's area, which I thought that was a pretty cool combo there. You know, with McIntyre whipping Sheamus, Damian Priest backdropping him into the timekeeper's area. So Damian Priest and McIntyre, they were staring each other down. So Priest ended up nodding his head because McIntyre ended up motioning for Damian Priest to come back to the ring. Priest ended up nodding his head. He ended up smiling as Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back, Sheamus was shown fighting Damian Priest off in the corner. Sheamus then delivered a top rope clothesline, and Damian Priest ended up kicking out at 2. Sheamus delivered knees to Damian Priest's back. McIntyre ended up coming back up on the ring apron. Sheamus ended up ramming McIntyre into the ring post, sending him back out to the floor. Damian Priest started unloading on Sheamus. Sheamus ended up blocking the punches from Damian Priest. Priest then blocked the Irish Curse backbreaker from Sheamus, and he delivered a takedown. Priest delivered a shoulder submission, but Sheamus ended up hanging on. Sheamus then ended up hitting the Irish Curse, holding Damian Priest. Damian Priest then ended up going for Sheamus's mask, and just Sheamus started beating Damian Priest down. So Sheamus then worked on Damian Priest over the apron. He delivered the 10 beats of the Budan. Sheamus then ended up clubbing Damian Priest to the floor, ended up standing tall in the ring. McIntyre then came back in. McIntyre ended up attacking as Sheamus ended up turning around. McIntyre then came back to the ring. He ended up attacking Sheamus. He launched Sheamus with an overhead throw and then delivered a neck breaker. So Sheamus then ended up blocking the Future Shock DDT, and he rolled McIntyre up, which McIntyre kicked out at 2. So McIntyre ended up charging at Sheamus. Sheamus then moved out of the way, and McIntyre went shoulder first into the ring post. Priest then ended up attacking Sheamus, delivered the bell clap, and then a spin kick. So Priest ended up delivering leaping elbows to Sheamus and McIntyre in the corner. Priest ended up leveling Sheamus, ended up grabbing McIntyre by the throat, but McIntyre ended up fighting Damian Priest off. So Priest ended up delivering some kicks until McIntyre ended up clotheslining him over the top rope out to the floor. McIntyre then ran the ropes, leapt over the top. He took down both Damian Priest and Sheamus on the floor. McIntyre then brought Damian Priest back into the ring. McIntyre then hit Damian Priest and delivered a Michinoku driver to Damian Priest, and he went for the cover. Damian Priest ended up kicking out. So both McIntyre and Priest were trading shots. So they ended up fighting into the corner. McIntyre then delivered a chop to Damian Priest into the corner and delivered another one which echoed throughout the arena. McIntyre then ended up taking Damian Priest to the top, mounting him with some punches. Sheamus ended up coming over, and Sheamus then ended up hanging McIntyre upside down in the corner. Sheamus started stomping away. He ended up climbing up with Damian Priest while McIntyre was still, upside down. So McIntyre ended up powering up. He ended up launching both Sheamus and Damian Priest down to the mat, which was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool spot there. All three of them were laid out as Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back, Sheamus was shown trading some big strikes with McIntyre in the middle of the ring. McIntyre started unloading with some chops to Sheamus. Damian Priest was still down on the outside. Sheamus then ended up catching McIntyre with an Alabama slam, which he went for the cover. McIntyre kicked out at 2. So at the end of the match, we had Damian Priest end up kicking McIntyre. McIntyre then came back, delivered the Glasgow kiss to Damian Priest. And then Priest then ended up dropping McIntyre with the Reckoning, and he went for the cover. And there you go. Damian Priest ended up winning the match, retaining the United States Championship. So post-match, Sheamus ended up recovering at ringside as McIntyre ended up also doing the same in the corner. McIntyre then ended up approaching Damian Priest in the middle of the ring. Priest ended up dropping the United States Championship. Him and McIntyre ended up facing off. McIntyre then offered his hand. Damian Priest ended up shaking McIntyre's hand for respect. So that was that. But overall, this was the best match of the night. This was entertaining, and I really enjoyed this match. And also the crowd there in Oklahoma City did the same. The Oklahoma City crowd really enjoyed this match also. And one match does not make this show a good show, in my opinion. Just for people that say, oh yeah, just because this match was good, the whole show was good. No, that's not how it works. So then we saw a video that came out earlier in the day with Bill Goldberg. Goldberg ended up saying that he's coming for the soul of Bobby Lashley. And that right there sets off their rematch that we're going to see in October at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. So Goldberg is going to show up probably at the end of September, and then we're going to get a little build for him and Bobby Lashley's rematch, and then we're going to see the rematch in Saudi Arabia at Crown Jewel. That's what they're doing. We get to this awful shit right here. Reginald, the jobber, 24/7 champion. Reginald ended up saying that he dreamed of leaving his hood when he was a kid. And now he gets to travel the world and see beautiful parks. So as he's explaining that, the camera pans and we see R-Truth was off to the side and he was wearing a blonde wig to disguise himself. And we saw someone dressed in a dog costume. And who was dressed in that dog costume? Akira Tozawa. So they were both playing frisbee, and they ended up trying to chase Reginald around the park. Reginald's doing his Circus Soleil, jumping around, escaping from R-Truth and Akira Tozawa. They go around the park. So Reginald escapes. So Tozawa ends up taking the dog head off of him, off the costume. He ended up saying that he told R-Truth the costume wouldn't work. So Truth ended up saying, every day has its day, except Tozawa. So that was that. But this was awful shit. Every time we see Reginald on TV with that jobber 24/7 title, we all know we gotta groan whenever that happens because it's not funny. This is fucking shit. This is awful TV. And hell, every time when we see Reginald jumping around trying to escape Akira Tozawa and R-Truth, this is all I hear in my head with Reginald just escaping from R-Truth and Akira Tozawa. Yeah, the Woody Woodpecker laugh. Yeah, that should be how Reginald escapes from R-Truth and Akira Tozawa. Just do the Woody Woodpecker laugh. Yeah, Reginald should just do that. Yeah. That's Reginald right there, trying to escape Akira Tozawa and R-Truth. I should make that every single week when we see Reginald on and he's escaping from R-Truth and Akira Tozawa. I should do the Woody Woodpecker laugh sound effect every single week. Awful. Awful, awful, awful. Get this title off of TV. We go to, this was a waste. Eva Marie versus Dewdrop, which the match never got underway. This match went to a no contest. Who fucking cares? So yeah, Dewdrop ended up slamming Eva Marie, landed a senton. Dewdrop then delivered a crossbody while Eva Marie was still on the mat. Dewdrop ended up pinning Eva Marie, and Dewdrop ended up countering to 3. The referee ended up checking on Eva Marie. The referee ended up calling over Mike Rome. Mike Rome ended up saying that Eva Marie is unable to compete. And then Dewdrop goes out, and then she announces herself as the winner. Awful. Awful, awful, awful. Why is Eva Marie still here? Anybody who offered Eva Marie a contract should be fired. Eva Marie sucks in the ring. She can't wrestle. Why is she still on TV? Get her out of there. So then we saw Sarah Schreiber. Sarah Schreiber ended up stopping Charlotte Flair backstage. Sarah Schreiber ended up asking about the earlier threat from Nia Jax. Charlotte ended up saying that Nia Jax is a monster and that she's going to slay her because she's the most decorated female in WWE history. No. No. Sorry, Charlotte. She ended up saying, long live the queen. And that was that. Then we had Karrion Kross versus Humberto Carrillo. Karrion Kross coming out looking like Shredder from the Ninja Turtles, still with that mask, still wearing the suspenders, which I didn't talk about in my review last week. The suspenders actually ripped in his match with Ricochet last week. I didn't mention that though. But still, WWE still making them go out there wearing suspenders and still wearing the Shredder mask. Where is Scarlett still? That's the mystery. Scarlett might as well just print up a flyer and put missing Scarlett on there. That's his woman right there. And still, nowhere to be found. This was an easy win for Karrion Kross here. We had Karrion Kross waiting in the ring as Humberto Carrillo ended up making his way out. Karrion Kross started unloading in the corner on Carrillo, delivered some kicks. Humberto Carrillo went up to the apron. He ended up kicking Kross. Carrillo ended up delivering a top rope crossbody to Kross, which he went for a cover. Kross kicked out at 2. Carrillo ended up delivering some kicks and forearms to Kross. Kross ended up catching Carrillo in midair. And Kross ended up running the ropes. He ended up turning Humberto Carrillo inside out with a clothesline. He ended up going for the cover, which Carrillo ended up kicking out at 2. Kross delivered a snap suplex to Carrillo, went for another cover. Carrillo ended up kicking out at 2. At the end of the match, we had Kross delivered a Doomsday Sato suplex to Humberto Carrillo, which he then did into the cross jacket. And we hear the referee here say, "Go ahead, tap." And then Humberto Carrillo ended up tapping. So Karrion Kross ended up winning the match. Easy win for Karrion Kross. This was a squash match. Humberto Carrillo taking another loss. And I don't know how many losses Humberto Carrillo has on his record already. So you go. Easy win for Karrion Kross. Squash match. So then we saw Nia Jax backstage. Sarah Schreiber ended up approaching Nia Jax. She ended up talking about squashing everyone. Nia Jax ended up talking about squashing everyone who gets in her way. She ended up saying that she will do the same to Charlotte and will take her invisible crown and shove it up her royal behind. So that was what Nia Jax had to say. So we're having heel versus heel here with Charlotte and Nia Jax. So that was the match right here, Charlotte versus Nia Jax. This match, just meh, in my opinion. Nia Jax ended up coming out first, and then Charlotte came out. So before that match got underway, we saw Randy Orton and Matt Riddle. They were backstage. So he ended up going on about everything he's good at to Randy Orton. He even said he even graduated high school. Randy Orton ended up saying that all Matt Riddle needs to worry about is being good at is what they do in the ring. And if they stay on the same page, they will be fine. So Matt Riddle was like, "Oh, I won't let you down, Orton. I won't let you down, bro." So that was that. And then we had the match start, Charlotte versus Nia Jax. Match ended up starting. Charlotte ended up dodging an attack from Nia Jax. She went out to the floor. She did some taunting to Nia Jax. Charlotte ended up coming back in to the ring, went back out to the apron, and then back out to the floor to dodge another attack from Nia Jax. So Charlotte ended up dodging Nia Jax again, and they both end up finally locking up. Nia Jax ended up overpowering on Charlotte into the ropes. So Charlotte then ended up slapping Nia Jax. Charlotte ended up going for Nia's knee. Nia Jax ended up blocking a suplex from Charlotte. She ended up dropping Charlotte to one knee with a headbutt. Nia Jax kept control of the match, started mounting some offense on Charlotte. Nia Jax ended up dropping Charlotte in the corner and misses a hip attack because Charlotte ended up getting out of the way. Of course, Nia Jax still thinks she's Rikishi with slapping the big butt. So Charlotte was looking to come back, but Nia Jax kept control of the match. Nia Jax ended up sending Charlotte to the apron, and Charlotte ended up fighting back, applied the inverted guillotine on Nia Jax using the top rope. So Charlotte ended up dropping Nia Jax over the middle rope with a whiplash. Charlotte then taunted Nia Jax from the floor, ended up fighting back in, jumping on Nia Jax's back, delivered a sleeper hold. Nia Jax ended up slamming Charlotte to the mat, which Nia Jax catch Charlotte in mid-move, delivered a spine buster, and she went for the cover. Charlotte ended up kicking out at 1. So Charlotte ended up going out to the floor to regroup. She ended up coming back in. She ended up dumping Nia Jax through the ropes as Nia Jax ended up charging at her. So at the end of the match, Nia Jax ended up going for a powerbomb to Charlotte because Nia Jax ended up blocking the figure four. She ended up dropping Charlotte. So that's when Nia Jax ended up going for a powerbomb to Charlotte, and she ended up nailing it. She went for the cover, and there you go. Nia Jax ended up winning the match. Overall, meh match. Now we saw John Morrison. John Morrison was backstage. Morrison ended up saying that he was supposed to take on The Miz this week, but The Miz went back to Hollywood. And they advertised this, from last week. And Morrison was like, oh, next week, I'm going to get my hands on The Miz. So that was advertised throughout the week. They advertised it earlier in the day. And then The Miz is not there. So WWE clickbaited us, saying, oh, we're going to get this match this week. No, Miz wasn't there. So John Morrison ended up saying that he told his acting coach that he would prove he was the bigger man in the match against The Miz. And that he still wants to prove that. And he asked for this. And he was granted a match with the largest human he knows. And he was like, that person is you. And when I saw that, I'm like, oh, is it Omos? And of course it was Omos. And then Omos was like to Morrison, oh, that sucks for you. And that was that. And then we had Omos versus John Morrison. Do I really need to go over this match? We all know who won the match. Omos ended up winning. This was a squash match. Why would John Morrison ask for a match against Omos when he knows he's going to get destroyed by Omos? Omos wins. Delivered a choke slam to Morrison. Whatever. Then we had Xavier Woods come out, so it was Xavier Woods versus AJ Styles. How many times have we seen this match already? So we had Styles end up locking up with Xavier Woods. They end up going into the corner. Woods delivered a chop to Styles. Styles ended up catching Xavier Woods with a backbreaker, and it got blocked, and it turned into a side Russian leg sweep. Xavier Woods then ran the ropes. Styles ended up moving, and Xavier Woods landed on his feet at ringside. And Woods ended up countering and leveled Styles at ringside. Xavier Woods brought Styles back into the ring, went for the cover, which Styles ended up kicking out at 1. Xavier Woods kept control, and he got another pin, which Styles ended up kicking out at 2. Woods ended up running into a strike from Styles, and Styles ended up charging in the corner, but got sent to the apron. Styles ended up rocking Xavier Woods from the apron. He ended up going to springboard into Xavier Woods, but Woods ended up rolling out to the floor. Styles ended up sending Xavier Woods into the corner. Xavier Woods ended up blocking Styles, but Styles ended up taking Xavier Woods' knee out. So we had Styles end up focusing on Xavier Woods' knee. He was grounding Xavier Woods with the submission. Woods ended up getting out of it, and Styles ended up coming back at Xavier Woods once again. Woods ended up delivering an arm drag and a kick to Styles' gut. So at the end of the match, we had Styles end up rolling Xavier Woods into the calf crusher, and Woods ended up reaching for the bottom rope. He couldn't get to it, so Woods ended up tapping out. So there you go. Styles ended up winning the match. So, but overall, how many times have we seen Styles and Xavier Woods go at it? Nothing new that was seen in this match. So now we had the main event. Bobby Lashley and MVP versus Matt Riddle and Randy Orton. The Raw Tag Team titles on the line. So we had Matt Riddle and Randy Orton end up coming out. Riddle ended up riding his scooter out to the ring. And Orton ended up taking his time walking down the ramp. So then Monday Night Raw went to commercial. Then when Monday Night Raw came back, we had Bobby Lashley and MVP end up coming out. Styles was on commentary for the match. So the match ended up starting, and Matt Riddle started unloading with a charging forearm to Bobby Lashley. Lashley ended up fighting Matt Riddle off. He ended up dropping Matt Riddle. Lashley then came back, delivered a vertical suplex, holding Matt Riddle in the air. He ended up dropping him as Randy Orton ended up looking on. MVP came in. He ended up taking over on Matt Riddle. MVP delivered a takedown on Matt Riddle. He went for the cover, which Riddle ended up kicking out of 2. Orton then ended up coming in, started focusing on MVP. And Orton ended up focusing on MVP's knee. And he was taunting Bobby Lashley. Orton ended up stopping on MVP to keep him down. Matt Riddle ended up coming back in, ended up dropping MVP with a quick pin attempt. MVP then retreated out to the floor to take a breather. So Matt Riddle ended up hitting the apron. He ended up nailing a corkscrew planka, taking MVP and Bobby Lashley down, which was a nice spot. So Bobby Lashley and Matt Riddle were going at it as Monday Night Raw came back from the commercial. Bobby Lashley ended up ducking the clothesline, ended up dropping Matt Riddle on his face. MVP came in and mounted Matt Riddle with some punches, went for the cover. Riddle kicked out 2. So Riddle ended up getting back up, started unloaded with some strikes. MVP ended up catching a kick from Matt Riddle, started working on his leg. So Riddle ended up back flipping away from MVP, tagged in Randy Orton. Orton ended up working on MVP, started unloading on MVP in the corner, delivering some right hands to MVP. So Orton ended up running into a boot in the corner from MVP. MVP ended up charging, but Orton ended up catching him with a power slam. So he ended up standing tall, Randy Orton. He was stalking MVP. You know how he delivers the the fist like that on the mat. Orton ended up decking Bobby Lashley. He ended up hitting the second rope draping DDT. So MVP ended up getting back up. He ended up sending Randy Orton shoulder first into the ring post. So Lashley ended up coming in. Him and MVP ended up double teaming on Randy Orton in the corner. So at the end of the match, we had Styles end up getting involved. And Styles ended up sending Omos over to attack Randy Orton. Omos ended up grabbing Orton. Matt Riddle ended up kicking Omos from the apron. And Omos, went flying. And Orton ended up ducking a right hand from Styles. And he ended up slamming Styles on top of the announce table. Matt Riddle ended up countering MVP in the ring. And Matt Riddle dropped MVP with a pump kick. Riddle ended up going up to the top. And ended up hitting the floating bro onto MVP. Went for the cover. And there you go. Matt Riddle and Randy Orton ended up winning the match, retaining the Raw Tag Team titles. Post-match, Lashley ended up running in, ended up taking out Matt Riddle with a spear. Lashley ended up turning around. Randy Orton delivered the RKO. And Orton and Matt Riddle ended up heading to the entrance way. And MVP and Bobby Lashley were trying to recover in the ring. And that was how Monday Night Raw went off the air. Overall, this match was okay, in my opinion. It was okay, main event. But Monday Night Raw, it was a dreadful, abysmal show tonight. The only good match on the show was that triple threat match for the United States Championship. Damian Priest, Sheamus, and Drew McIntyre. Everything else was just meh to awful. So anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And if you guys haven't checked out my movie hunter video that I uploaded earlier today, definitely go check it out if you guys haven't seen it. But there will be no Dynamite review on Wednesday. I'll be working late, so don't expect a Dynamite review this Wednesday. It'll possibly be up on Friday or Saturday maybe. Who knows? But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all later.